Hey there guys, it's Anti-Crazy Movie Geek here. Okay, I'm going to review a horror classic that was made in the year 1974. It's made by Tobe Hooper, and we all know what it is, and it's my second favourite horror film of all time. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
What happened was true. The most bizarre and brutal series of crimes in America.
Stop! Stop!
This is the movie that is just as real, just as close, just as terrifying as being there. Even if one of them survives, what will be left? The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. After you stop screaming, you'll start talking about it.
Okay, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre is an independent horror film. It's really low budget. It's on for 80 minutes, and this is the 3-disc Seriously Ultimate Edition that I've got. Check it out. 3 discs. I'll give you the facts before I get straight into the plot. Directed by Tobe Hooper, produced by Tobe Hooper and Louis Perano, starring Marilyn Burns, Paul A. Partain, Edwin Neal, Jim Cedo, and Gunnar Hansen. Distributed by Brian Stone Pictures. Release date October 1st, 1974. The budget is over $300,000. The box office is $30,859,000. Here is a comment. The most purely horrifying horror movie ever made from Empire. And this film is considered one of the scariest and disturbing films ever made. And I found out that the Texas Chainsaw Massacre is banned in Great Britain for more than 25 years. And it's also banned in several other countries. So this is a popular horror film. If you haven't got the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, you should definitely get it if you are a big horror fan. Okay, let's get to the plot. On August 18th, 1973, it shows clearly at the start of the film that there are 2 bodies from the Texas graveyard that are vandalized and grave robbed. So there has been a grave robbing incident in Texas. Anyway, there's a group of 5 youths, and amongst them are Sally Hardesty and her brother Franklin. And they travel through back roads through Texas, and they travel to the graveyard. And while they're at the graveyard, they visit the grave of the Hardesty's grandfather. Well, anyway, after they've been to the graveyard, they continue travelling until they pick up an unpleasant hitchhiker, and he's kind of, crazy and, weird and mental. And then a few minutes later, he cuts his wrist with his knife, and then cuts Franklin's arm with another knife, and then ditch the hitchhiker out of their van. They go to the gas station for some gas that they need refueling. but the pumps for the gas are empty. Anyway, they travel to a sinister clapboard house, and the 5 youths are discovering it. Anyway, Kirk and Pam go to a nearby house, and Kirk calls out, and nobody answered. Well, anyway, while Kirk is inside the house, Leatherface pops out, and he repeatedly hits Kirk with his sledgehammer, and Leatherface drags the body, and then he shuts the metal door. Pam is trying to find Kirk, and she enters the house until she trips into a room that is filled with human bones and other parts, and she got out of the room, and Leatherface comes out and chasing her, and Leatherface grabs Pam and he puts Pam on a meat hook. Anyway, Jerry is trying to find Pam and Kirk until he enters the house, and he discovers the body of Pam in a long white freezer. And then Leatherface comes out again, and Jerry screams in terror, and Leatherface hits him with his sledgehammer, and he places Pam back in the freezer. And then it was night time, and Sally and Franklin are the only people left, and Sally and Franklin decided to search for their friends. And suddenly Leatherface comes out revving his chainsaw and kills Franklin, and Sally is the only one left, and she manages to run away from Leatherface killing Franklin, and Leatherface is right behind her. And while Sally is getting away from Leatherface, she enters a room where a proprietor is inside in, and the proprietor, who is played by Jim Cedo, tells Sally to take it easy and calm down and all that. But then he ties Sally up and he forces her into the truck. He drives to the house where the demented family is, and the hitchhiker comes and they bring Sally inside the house. A few minutes later, she's at the dinner table with the old man, the hitchhiker, and Grandpa, and Leatherface. So she screams in terror a lot of times. They are going to kill Sally, and then Sally breaks free from them, and she manages to get away from the house by running through a window. And then the hitchhiker and Leatherface are chasing her, but then the hitchhiker gets ran over by a big truck, and Leatherface is chasing her. And the ending was really cool, and that's the best part in the film, in my opinion, because it shows Sally getting onto a truck, and she got away from Leatherface while the driver of the truck is driving fast away from Leatherface. And then Leatherface waves his chainsaw in rage and frustration, and then the credits roll. It's a must-have horror film if you are a big horror fanatic. The plot is great, the acting is amazing, the cast is awesome, and Leatherface is one of my favourite horror icons, and it is a really good horror film. I'm giving this film 5 stars out of 5. That's basically my film review for the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Please rate and comment on this video, and if you have any questions, just email me on YouTube. Thanks guys.